Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you how to deploy a machine learning model to AWS SageMaker using fully automated CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Actions. We will train a simple model to save it, write an inference script, and then automate the deployment. Let me give a quick overview of what we are doing. We'll use an ARIS dataset to train the logistic regression model. We'll save the model using Pickle, upload the model to the AWS S3, write inference script for SageMaker, and then set up a GitHub Actions CI/CD pipeline for automatic deployment on every push to the main branch. This will be the folder structure of our project. And yeah, let's get started. Let's start with model training. Here we are loading Harris dataset and using logistic regression to train the model. Then we'll run this command. Once we'll run this command, a model.pkl will be created like this. Next, we have inference.py. Inference.py is used by SageMaker to load the model, to parse the incoming request, and to perform predictions. In this, we have a model function. This will load the model, and we have input function. This will take input data. Input data now again, input data can be in any format, but we are using here text CSV format. And then we have predict function. In this predict function, we are passing both input data and model and perform predict. We are calling here predict function to make prediction. Now we have here output function. In this, our output from this will get an output in array format, but in here we'll format that output in the form of string and return it as a result. Now once the model is trained, we need to create the compressed version of that model and upload to the AWS S3 so that SageMaker can use it on deployment. Now move to your Git bash. For Windows user, you can use Git bash, but if you are a Linux or Mac OS user, you can use your normal terminal. Now move to your project folder directory. Now you can see this model.tar because I've already created that. You can run this command and can create this tar model, and then you can see that model over here. Now move to your AWS console and search for AWS S3. Now you need to create a bucket in which you can store your model. Create bucket, give the name of your bucket. Bucket name should be unique. Bucket and keep everything as default. And scroll down and just create bucket. Once the bucket is created, this will be a bucket. In this, first create a folder. Give folder name as model. Keep everything as default and create folder. And move inside that folder and then upload add file, then choose that model. Move to your project directory and choose that model and then upload. Scroll down, upload. Model uploaded successfully. Done. Okay, now let me walk you through the deployment script. This is deploy.py. Here we are importing SageMaker library and then importing sklearn model. This will help to use the models of Scikit-learn, and then importing session. This will help us to create a session between SageMaker and our terminal. S3 model path. Here we are giving the path of our model. You just change this name to your bucket name. This is my bucket name. You change your bucket name accordingly and everything will be same. And rule. As of now, keep it as it is. I will tell you later what this rule is and why we need to use this. And now here we are creating a session, and then we are creating a model, sklearn model, passing all the data to this. like file path, role, and that inference.py. Inference.py, as I told previously, that inference.py is the one which will help a SageMaker to perform how the input is given, parsing the data, prediction, everything is given over here. And this line, now this line will actually perform the deployment by using ML medium, which will be good enough for performing small tasks and demos. And here we are printing the endpoint name. And yeah, okay, now let's automate all of this using GitHub Actions. Create a .github folder. Inside that create workflows. Inside that create deploy.yaml. This is your CI/CD pipeline YAML code. The name. Give the name to your pipeline. On push branch main. These four lines will make sure that your YAML file will run only when you push code to the main branch. This means this file will run only when you push code to the main branch. Now let's write the jobs. Jobs, we are writing only the single job deploy and then runs on Ubuntu latest. This will create a Ubuntu server hosted by GitHub, and then steps checkout code. Whenever you push code to the main branch, the new code pushed code will be checked out to the this server, Ubuntu server. In this step, set up Python. Here we are specifically using Python 3.10 version because SageMaker is very much compatible with this version only, and newer versions of Python are not that much compatible with the SageMaker. So we are using this, and then we are installing the dependencies. Pip install Boto3, and then SageMaker, Scikit-learn, and NumPy. I have given this also in requirements.txt. I have not explained that previously. So these are all the libraries we are using, and then deploy model to the SageMaker. Now this line is the core of this pipeline. When you run this pipeline, when this pipeline will run, the model will be deployed to the SageMaker. And what are these things? I will just wrote this for testing purpose. You can just omit it out. And also you need to add these secrets to your GitHub, this access key idea and all. If you don't know how to add these keys, I have created a detailed guide for that, which I will add in description. You can check that out. And yeah, also okay, now I'll tell you how to create this AWS access key id and AWS secret access key id, and I'll also be explaining you why we are using this role. Move to your console. Let me search for IAM. Search for IAM. Move to roles. Let's. But before creating role, let me explain what is role. In AWS, we have many services, but for this project, we are using two specific services of AWS: Amazon SageMaker and AWS S3. Both are two completely different services. So role is something now in Amazon SageMaker will look for roles. In a role will define to which all permission do SageMaker have. When we look at our project, this our Amazon SageMaker also using S3 because our model is itself stored in the S3. So our Amazon SageMaker also need the permissions of to use S3. So we'll be writing a role which will be having a permissions of S3, and will be giving that role to the SageMaker. I will let me create a role, and it will be clear for you. Create a role, use AWS service. Here you type Say why SageMaker? Because we are creating a role for SageMaker. Create a SageMaker, and then next, keep everything default, and then next, and then write a role name. Test maker role, test SageMaker role, and then create. A role will be created. Just see where it is created. Second page. Test SageMaker role. Go inside that role. See, here you will be getting this ARN. Just copy that and add here. Add here. This role is the one your SageMaker is looking for. Once the SageMaker will look for this role, and in this SageMaker you have the access for S3. If you won't use the access to S3, your SageMaker will not be able to load that model because your model itself is stored in S3. So we also need to create, as I told, access key ID and secret access key ID. Now let me create those. Come to here, move to permissions. But before that, we need to add permissions to this role. Go to this attach policies, search for S3. You're here, Amazon S3 full access. Click this and add permission. I also added the S3 permissions. Now come to users and create user. You name to the user like test user. Next, attach policies directly. Give S3 full access, and then search for SageMaker. Scroll down, you can find your SageMaker. Next, both permission, and then create user. Your user will be created. Now inside that user, where you will be seeing create access key. Write this and then click for application running outside AWS. Click this. Next, description tag that is optional. Just create access key. Wait for a second so you can find your access key and secret access key. Make sure you don't share this access key because these are very much credentials. Just copy this and keep it somewhere. Now here, and this secret access key also, this is very much secret, I won't show you. And then go to your GitHub. Make sure you have uploaded your code to your GitHub. Create a repo and just push your code to there. And then come to your setting, secrets and variables, actions, create repository. Because I already created, you can see mine. Create new repository secret. Add your secret name. Like here you have what, AWS access key ID. Just copy this, add here, and that secret you this secret add it here. And then similarly you create one for secret access key, AWS secret access key. You create that for one, and add that over here. And then similarly for third one, AWS default region. I have took default region as AP South 1 for this entire project. Make sure you are in the same region, or if you are using any other region, stay in the same region only. And then once you are done, just save it over here. Then you can test it. Okay, now to test this tester, come back to your code. Just uncomment this and then push this new commit to your GitHub. This taking some time. Just push this code to your main branch. Once you push this code to main branch, come back to your repo. Just refresh this. You will see a yellow dot here, which means your deployment has started. Just click this and view the process. Details. Your deployment has started. It will take some time, 1 or 2 minutes, to deploy it completely. So wait for. By the time I will tell you what next to do, come back to your code. After that, come to your predict.py. Here we are importing Boto3 library and we are endpoint. We are giving your endpoint. This endpoint will be given by your SageMaker once the deployment is completed. Region, input data, and here we are creating a SageMaker client. We are invoking that client by passing data like endpoint, test data, and doing prediction. After we are after getting that endpoint, we'll run this code. We shall get our prediction. Yes, deployment is done completely. So come to this deploy model to SageMaker. You shall see your endpoint. Just copy this endpoint, come back to your code, and just copy paste that here. Once you paste that, run this predict code. Once you run that, you will get your prediction. See, I got the prediction. Prediction is 0 for this input data. And that's it. We have successfully tested your SageMaker endpoint and received prediction using Python and Boto3. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more such content. Yeah, and also make sure after prediction you have done, you delete your endpointer to avoid unnecessary bills. Because once you started deployment, your AWS account will start incurring cost. Come back to your uh, uh, or this AWS console and search for AI SageMaker, Amazon SageMaker, and then here in this inference, you shall find endpoints. Click this, you shall see this in service. Means your deployment is in service, but it is active. Just click this, and you shall see a delete button. Delete and delete this. Again, it will take some time, 1 or 2 minutes to delete. Wait by the time, and your endpoint will be deleted. And yes, your endpoint has deleted successfully. And also I will add GitHub link and a blog. You can check that out also. And yes, we are done.